Hi, this is Pastor Ellen. Today is Friday, April 24th, 2020. What a week it has been. What a weird world we're living in. I know that over these 5 weeks of the pandemic, self-isolation, you have stress. You have things that are hurting you. You have concerns for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones. We do. This has been quite a week in the Beerline family. I've told from the pulpit about our son John. John was Rick and his first wife's first child. They had tried for many years to have children and couldn't, and they ended up adopting, and they got the baby that they could get the soonest. He was from Colombia. And all things point to John, their firstborn, their most beloved child, being a crack baby. His parents were addicted, and he was given up for adoption. They got him very young, and they loved him. Rick was just telling the story about when John was brought to his grandmother's house, Rick's mother's house, how their whole block had a welcome to our lives party because they were so excited to have this brand new grandbaby they'd wanted for so long. John had problems his whole life. In middle school, he started smoking, he started drugs, he started having relationships with young women. He had his first baby, his girlfriend had his first baby when they were 15. He had already been locked up the same year. John has been prayed for and loved all these years. He came into my life when Rick and I met maybe 10, 11 years ago. Charming, handsome, sweethearted, but so troubled, so very, very troubled. John was put into prison about 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. And this week, he was released. So Rick and I went up to the Upper Peninsula to Chippewa Correctional Facility, and we got him Monday. And we brought him back to his hometown, back where all those people are that he used with and that were good and bad influences on his life, and left him in a halfway house that was filthy dirty, like leaving your 5-year-old in a kindergarten room where the teacher and the room are dirty. Ooh, it was hard leaving him there. But I'm going to tell you that John is changed. John has had an encounter with his Maker. John has completed a relationship, not just a name, but a relationship with our living God. John is excited about a commitment to sobriety. For all the years I've known him, I've never heard him make that statement that he is committed to a lifetime of sobriety. He is committed to a lifetime of growing, of being trained, of being able to help others as a counselor for addiction. He's excited about being in Narcotics Anonymous. It's an exciting thing to see. But he knows there are very difficult steps ahead. He's lived this before. He's come out and tried. But it's different this time. I will say he's got a different relationship with God than I've ever seen in him before. It's an exciting thing to see. And he's excited about it. But let me also tell you that he knows it's going to be hard, very hard. So what he's doing is he's planning for the future. When this happens, this is what I'm going to do. When this happens, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to face the hardship. And I'm proud of him for that. I'm glad of him for that. But at the same time, as I prayed for him and I prayed for his future, God told me, one day, he only needs to get through this day, one day. So as we've had these different weeks together, I have had different emphasis. We had hope for one emphasis. We had joy for one emphasis. Today's emphasis is peace. Today is about peace. From Colossians 3:15, let me read this beautiful verse for you. Colossians 3:15. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. So I had to call John and tell him, or actually we went up and saw him. We were working on some business where he lives, and I had to tell him, John, it's great to have plans for the future, but what you have to deal with is today. Take each day, one day at a time, and in that one day, let the peace of Christ rule in your heart, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful. I want John to know that all he's responsible for is today. Get through today. Get through today clean. Get through today without temptation overtaking you. Get through today without anxiety becoming your matrix of reality. That's also what I say to you, my dear friends, my beloved church. Deal with today. My mother is Fern Danley Goree. She is a force of nature, so wise, such a beautiful person who's in the depths of heartbreaking Alzheimer's, and she can't talk anymore. So I have to remember what she said. Here's one of her best phrases that I take with me all the time. I'm sorry, not what I wanted to do today, but we're in the midst of trying to work through her care. She needs more care than we can give her at home, and yet it's COVID-19. We can't put her into a facility right now. So we're really dealing with the difficulty of how to care for a loved one in the midst of a pandemic. But let me tell you what Fern used to say. She'd say, Ellen, don't borrow trouble. I'm not sure I got it the first time she said it to me, but she said it many times to me. Ellen, don't borrow trouble. I think what she means by that is don't go to tomorrow's issues and bring them into your fear for today, or bring them into your anxiety for today, or bring them into your hopelessness for today. Just deal with what you have to deal with today. Deal with it boldly, deal with it calmly, deal with it forcefully, but deal with it today. Don't borrow trouble from tomorrow. that's what I have for you, my dear people. There's so much going on, so much hurt, so much anxiety, so much fear. You don't have to deal with all of the next years, the next months, the next weeks, even the next day's problems. Just today, with God, in your heart, in your home, in your life, with Jesus Christ next to you. I love the verse that says, if God is for us, who can be against us? You can have a spirit of peace today, for today, because today Jesus is with you. And in Colossians 3:15, hang on to it. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace. And be thankful. Thankfulness will bring forth the spirit of peace. Thankfulness will wipe away the anxiety. Thankfulness will bring hope. Thankfulness will bring joy. Thankfulness will bring peace. May it be so in your lives and in mine as we go through this together. Holy God, help us know and experience your peace, your love. Let your heart be our heart. Amen. I love you, brothers and sisters.